Jesus Christ, get away from him. He didn't get away. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Kevin, don't move. Don't move.
Hi, this is the business guy. It was August 4th, 2020, and I was riding my bicycle down A1A in South Florida, 6 o'clock in the morning, enjoying the beautiful sunrise coming over the ocean. As I rode 20 miles out and 20 miles back, I was stricken by an SUV going 40 miles an hour. We're talking about T-boned. So fortunately, it was a while ago and I've since healed, but I want to tell you the story about personal injury attorneys and how they work. You see the billboards, injured, give us a call, and so on. Let's see how that works with personal injury attorneys, what they do, when they sue you, and what happens when you're the one injured. And I'll also tell you exactly how much money I received in the legal settlement. And if you appreciate me telling this very personal story, please like this video, and please join our community and subscribe if you haven't already. So I remember making the turn. I was pulling left into a driveway to turn around and go the other direction. There was a double yellow line, so nobody could legally pass me from behind. I take a left, and there's an SUV going 40 miles an hour that hits me broadside. I don't remember the hit, but what I do remember, I was laying on my back, looking up at the sky and the gravel by the side of the road thinking, wait a minute, why am I laying on the ground looking up at the sky? And pretty soon I hear, and I think in my head, okay, so I must have been hit by a car, and that must have been the lady who did it. And as soon as that happened, I heard my buddies who I had been riding with, they went on further down the road. They turned around when they heard the hit, and they were screaming at this lady, and I have it all on recording because one of my buddies was a fire chief. Now, the fire chief was the one who had the recording device on his bike, so while he was riding, everything was getting videotaped. Now, listen to me getting hit here right before they turn around. Yeah, that was me getting stricken by an SUV riding a bicycle. Another buddy was a paramedic. Fortunately for me, the paramedic held my shoulders and head and they were saying, don't move, don't move. And I said, no, I'm okay. I'm going to get up. I want to go back home and see my wife. And they said, you're not getting on that bike. I said, why? He said, because it's sitting over there in 4 pieces. I thought, oh no. So I just laid really still. I held really still. And I remember the paramedics arriving. They put this collar around my neck. I remember a board getting slid under my back. I remember getting slid into the ambulance, going in and out of consciousness, by the way. I remember looking around and seeing all the equipment in the ambulance. And I remember them putting an IV in my arm. I remember the siren coming on and being driven real quickly to the hospital. I had no idea which hospital they were going to take me to. I remember the ambulance pulling under the exterior roof of the emergency room. I remember going into the hospital. They put me into ICU. And the first thing I remember is I have a neighbor who invented, after 911, call 411. In other words, after you call 911, call 1-800-411-PAIN. One of my neighbors actually invented that. What it was is an attorney referral service. So I thought, okay, this is going to be expensive. I need to get compensated. I was just broadsided by an SUV going 40 miles an hour, and I'm laying here in terrible pain. So they took me through all the steps, showed me how to put on the collar. I was in that hospital for about 3 days, and when I got out, they showed me what to do, how to move. And I remember getting home wearing this neck brace the whole time, and I think I had this thing on for, about 3 months or so. Many of the videos, if you look at the videos from August, September, maybe even October of 2020, you'll see that neck brace on, or I'm holding my head real still if I took it off to make the video. Hopefully I left it on most of the videos. But anyway, the key thing is I want to show you how it works in the personal injury attorney world. So here's how it works. Now, I'm not really sue happy, but this was a very, very serious accident. I mean, I could have been paralyzed. It crushed the C2 vertebrae. Now, paralysis. What happens is you're not able to pee on your own. You're not able to poo on your own. You're not able to breathe on your own. I mean, your life is pretty much, you're a vegetable. You can move your lips, but that's just about it. And when the nurses were walking in and they saw the crushed C2 vertebrae, they were just amazed that I can wiggle my toe. In fact, they told my wife, you know, we don't see this. The fact that he can move his toes, I mean, we're just all like looking at each other with our mouths gaping open because we thought this guy was paralyzed for sure. I mean, you take a look at the x-ray and the guy's paralyzed. You take a look at him and he's wiggling his toes. So fortunately, could have died, could have been paralyzed. Fortunately, it could have been a lot worse. I had a great big gash on my knee that was getting infected. They need to lay it open. I had to scrape it every day and rebandage it and put this medication on it and so on. It was a crazy problem and it was very, very painful. So here's how it worked. Let's go ahead and take a look at the iPad now. So as it turned out, the lady who hit me, an insurance policy of $50,000. That's all. Well, my medical bills were going to be about 100 grand or so, we thought. So that 50 grand just wasn't even a drop in the bucket, let alone the pain and suffering. And this was true pain and suffering. This wasn't just made up pain and suffering, as you can imagine. Now, since I'm in the asset protection business, I just can't help myself. Let's talk about the liability part of this if this was you that was driving the car. And I know it probably sounds funny since I'm in the asset protection business that I'm talking about things from the other side of the ledger. Now, the law firm did an asset search and they found that she had nothing personally. So all we could really collect was the insurance. And I'm not the sue happy type, but if you're the one sued and you do have assets, well, in this case, unless you had an asset protection plan, you're going to lose everything that isn't tied down. Okay, now back to our story. So that was number one. I had $250,000 of underinsured motorist coverage. So that's the way it worked. Now, this was a contingency fee lawyer, so the attorney got 1/3 of that. My medical bills turned out to be $80,000. Those are the medical bills. So that's a total of $300,000 of insurance. So we have the $300K of insurance, we have $80K of medical bills, and that leaves $220,000, okay? So my thinking was that the attorney gets 1/3 of the $220K. And they said, no, 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 no. We don't get 1/3 of the $220K. We get 1/3 of the $300K. Yeah, that's how it works with an injury attorney. They get 1/3 of the gross. Now, I have great medical insurance, so I just assume my medical insurance is going to cover this $80K. Problem solved, and I get my 200 grand. But that's not how it works. When it's an injury, your car insurance, at least in Florida and most states, your car insurance has to pay for the injury. Your car insurance has to pay for the medical costs. So the medical costs come out of the car insurance, not your medical insurance. In Florida, the medical insurance company liability is limited to $10,000 only. Well, this is like an 80, 90 grand bill. And the remainder that came out of the insurance was 80 grand. So what happens is the attorney gets 100 grand, right? So I'm left with 120K out of the 300 grand, and the attorney gets just about the same amount that I do. So that's why you see these billboards on the side of the road. Injured? Call Dewey, stick 'em in hell. That's how it works when you're injured. That's what happened when I broke my neck. Fortunately, I'm much better now. There's still pain. I can't turn my neck quite like I used to. I still feel pain in my neck. There's a lot of creaking and cracking going on, but I also received the maximum compensation that I could under the circumstances. There's no more money that I can receive in this case, but the injury and the pain and the range of motion loss is going to be a lifetime. So that's how personal injury attorneys work. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks for watching. This is The Business Guy.